In the 1970s, after experiencing the oil crisis, Denmark decided it needed to cut its dependence on imported fossil fuel. 30 years later, the small European country produces 20% of its energy from the wind. In the first of a new series from Denmark, we take a closer look at its wind turbines. Fairy tales, scenery, culture and canals are what tourists expect to find when they come to the gentle country of Denmark. When it comes to rescuing princesses, no one tells it better than Hans Christian Andersen. And when it comes to being buffeted by the wind, no people have more practice than the Danes.
Today we have managed to integrate about 20 to 21% of wind power. That in 2025 we should be able to integrate up to 50%.
Denmark is in the path of the Westerlies beside the windy North Sea and has over 400 islands along its 7,000-kilometre coast. In other words, conditions are ideal for wind power. The drive from Copenhagen to Lowland, which is one of the 4 main islands, takes only 3 hours. In the fields along the way, stacks of freshly baled straw are piled up like sugar cubes. It's windy here. The fields of turnip mustard have yet to be harvested, and there's a fresh smell in the air. You would never guess this used to be an industrial site. Nowadays, the lowland population of 50,000 people live in the shadow of over 500 wind turbines. The wind that buffets the grass also turns the blades of the huge turbines and drives the cogs of the new economy. Looking inland, one white turbine after another dots the landscape, while out to sea, the ocean surface has also become a wind farm.
Today, the largest turbines are about 150-160 meters to the top of the wing, but offshore, I don't see any obstacles in building 200 and 250 meters turbines. So far, we have experience with about 100 turbines offshore in parks, but I can see that in the future we will see much bigger parks.
This patch of sea is a virtual gold mine for clean energy. Denmark has 26 offshore wind farms. The next plan is to build 250-metre high turbines on the major island of Thisted. Known as the cold Hawaii, Thisted has 100 kilometres of beach and stiff breezes that make it a popular surfing spot. Peppering the island are 251 wind turbines, which provide enough power for local needs and a surplus for export. Islanders have thrown themselves into alternative energy development with a competitive zeal.
They did it on their own, and they thought it out, and they planned it, and they used their own knowledge and expertise, and they created a community that's off-grid. It doesn't have to rely on Russian gas, it doesn't have to rely on Middle East oil, it's all local. So it's what we call a third industrial revolution.
Free from the limitations of space on land, offshore wind farms have a power output as high as the ocean winds. Undersea cables take electricity through transformers to where it's needed. For Denmark, green energy is not window dressing, but the future structure of the national grid. Denmark may lack the striking skylines and towering buildings of other countries, but when it comes to wind power, the sky is the limit. Most people might think we'll have to give up economic development if we're to save the environment, but not if you look at the example of Denmark, which last year achieved startling economic growth, consuming 7% more energy, while at the same time cutting its emissions by 13%. In today's report from the Nordic nation, we investigate the country's water recycling facilities. On a wet afternoon by a canal in Copenhagen, a jazz band entertains the tourists. Keeping in step with Denmark's unpredictable weather is more difficult as the clouds part and the sun comes out again. but despite the frequent showers, the entire country does not have a significant river to speak of. Even the canal that cuts through the city's colourful Nyhavn district contains seawater. The flat landscape of Denmark, where the highest hill is only 180 meters tall, cannot hold water, so Copenhagen is forced to use seawater and underground sources. The canals, lakes and springs that you see are all man-made. Given that Copenhagen gets over 99% of its water from underground, if its sewage is not properly treated and reused, the consequences of wastewater seeping down to the water table could be devastating. Lynetten is Denmark's largest wastewater treatment plant and is situated right by the capital. But the perfectionist Danes who run it say they do not just want to treat wastewater, but recycle and reuse it.
Sand in the middle and grease in the side channel. And then the machine you can see going to and fro is removing the sand at the bottom and the grease at the top.
As manager Jens Christensen shows us around, the facilities do not look so different to any other treatment plant. The same steps in the purification process are followed, from sedimentation to filtering, removing the grease, and then to biotreatment.
You see here, bubbles. And what is this? It was we call aeration. Underneath the bridge there, big rotors are running round and this way taking air with oxygen down to the bacteria in the water.
In this stage, the tank is aerated with oxygen, which allows the bacteria to digest the organic waste in the water, producing bubbles on the surface. Finally, the dead microorganisms sink to the bottom of the tank, leaving clean water on top. The sludge at the bottom is thickened and sent to a digester, where it makes methane gas that can be turned into electricity and heat.
Where we will heat up the sludge till 33, 34 degrees and then give very good conditions for the bacteria to work for us. And they will eat and have a good time. And then this way we produce biogas methane.
Any remaining sediment is dried and turned into fuel. After the final step of being purified through activated carbon and other filters, all that's left is steam from the chimney. The plant treats about 80 million cubic meters of wastewater a year at a cost of $7.50 per cubic meter, for a total annual bill of about $600 million. Yet there is more to the purification process than meets the eye.
I will bring you down in the underworld. Another world, in fact. You don't see it, but this is necessary if we can walk here down, for many hours. Not many hours, but some hours.
In the bowels of the treatment plant, there are so many compressors that even Jens Christensen loses count. Up to 41,500 cubic meters of water rushes through these pipes every hour. The Danes excel at reusing over 90% of the water taken by the pipes to each stage of the process.
We try to reuse all the things from the wastewater or from the process here in the plant. Either we burn it or we recycle it using it.
Back on the surface, flowers gently sway in the sunshine. Being environmentally friendly seems to come naturally to the Danes, who are turning a new page in the story of wastewater treatment and green energy production.
In the latest of our series of reports from Denmark, we visit the peaceful but windy island of Samsø. Back in 1997, Samsø was earmarked by the Danish government to lead the country's renewable energy revolution. The islanders took up the challenge and harnessed the power of the sun, the wind, and other natural resources. Farmers even used the heat from refrigerating cow's milk to warm up their homes. But the biggest investment is a line of 10 offshore wind turbines, which help make a small fortune for Samsø residents.
去Samsø，去Samsø。
The boat at the dock is ready to take us to the Danish island of Samsø. About an hour into the voyage, we come across a strange sight. 5 of these 10 offshore wind turbines belong to the Danish government, 3 to private companies and 2 are the property of Samsø Islanders. Each turbine produces 8 million kilowatts of power a year. In 1997, Denmark made Samsø a renewable energy island. The man behind the revolution is Søren Hermansen, the director of the Samsø Energy Academy. Today he's introducing the island's outstanding renewable energy facilities to a group of Danish visitors.
We will learn today and do tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that the experiences of today will form the energy world of tomorrow, of the future. And I think this will be green. It has to be green.
That's a part of it. There's 50 meters up to where the turbine is driving around here. This is this is a 1 megawatt windmill. At the time, 10 years ago.
There are 11 wind turbines of this kind on Samsø, which supply enough electricity for the whole island.
Big ones for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. What about the camera? Can you have it in here?
No problem.
Okay.
Although it's 10 years old and not as tall as the offshore turbines, the 50-meter climb to the top is a struggle for our Dar-Eye reporter.
Yeah, 我们到风车顶上爬7层。
我先上去了。
Yeah， 风车顶高。
Yep.
The roof is the highest point in Samsø.
When they are going around, when the wind is over 7-8 meters per second, they go 21 turnarounds per minute. Then it goes in here in the gearbox. This gearbox translated, so when it goes in the generator, the rotor is going in the generator, it goes 1500 turnarounds per minute.
The huge blades need some strong bolts tightly screwed down to hold them in place. A computer monitors wind speed and direction and adjusts the angle of the turbine to keep the gearbox and generator moving.
And here is the screw.
Back on ground level, if you thought the clean energy here only comes from the wind, then you've underestimated the Samsø Islanders. This 70-year-old farmer extracts valuable oil from rapeseed that he grows himself. His old vehicle runs on the biodiesel his crop produces.
这是新鲜的油。Tastes good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really tastes good.
The oil can be burned or consumed, and the crushed seed can be fed to livestock or made into fertilizer to grow more rapeseed. Everyone on the small island seems to have caught the green energy buzz. 83-year-old Moggums Waller keeps a daily record of how much energy his solar panels produce and loves watching his meter turn backwards.
This is the most beautiful thing I've seen happen in Samsø since I was born.
From the wind and sun to the wheat chaff in the fields, everything can be harnessed for energy. The milk produced by dairy cows has also joined the race. When milk is cooled for storage, the extracted energy is used to heat homes.
Very simple. And there's money in the pocket. There's money. Save a lot of money on heat.
The gentle pace of life on Samsø may seem a world away from modern living, but as the wind turbines continue to turn, the island is accelerating its dependence on clean energy. Perhaps Samsø is the shape of the future world.
In Denmark, the bicycle is the main means of transportation for many people. The pragmatic and environmentally aware Danes say riding a bike is the quickest, cheapest, easiest and more carbon-cutting way to get around the city. In the capital of Copenhagen, 1 in 3 people commutes to work or school on a bicycle. To encourage even more people to take to 2 wheels, the local authorities are expanding the bicycle lane network.
Ask the Danes what they think of their bicycles, and this is what you'll hear.
And it's cheaper and it's faster and I really like it.
Yeah,
I love it. I really love it. I also exercise at the same time. And now I really have to go because I'm late. Thank you.
In Denmark, the bicycle is the fastest and most convenient way of getting from A to B. In the fashionable capital, the bicycle is the king of the road. The flat terrain and gentle slopes make cycling easy, but there's another important reason.
It's generally cheaper than public transport.
Bikes are fast and cheap, and if you need to make a longer journey, you can take your machine on the train without extra cost. The bicycle lanes in Copenhagen are on a par with the regular roads. Snaking 370 kilometers through the city, the convenient tracks encourage 1 out of every 3 people to pedal to work or school. And the authorities are working on creating longer routes to get even more people to ride.
We're trying to build a coherent network of long-distance cycle tracks. We want to increase this number to 50% by 2015. So at that time we will see every second person arriving on bike.
If you want to get a feel of just how seriously Copenhagen takes its cycles, the first thing to do is grab a free city bike or leave a photo ID and 100 kroner to rent a two-wheeler.
就是有个证件上面有照片，然后就可以把车子骑走了。对，所以还蛮简单的。
In the saddle, our reporters find that the dense network of bicycle tracks are well paved and the urban design of the city is people-centred. The Danes are pragmatic but also fun-loving people. In their brisk northern European climate, Copenhagen citizens love nothing better than riding or strolling around the city's 3 man-made lakes, enjoying the warm sunshine. The independent cycling tracks, blue bicycle lanes and special traffic signs are exclusively for bike riders. Even in City Hall Square, you don't have to worry about speeding cars. Copenhagen is currently expanding its metro system. A circle line is being built and roads are being widened for new bicycle lanes. Despite the extensive roadworks, riders still have priority.
If you have to dig in our roads, we have to get the bicycles safe around the working area. So we make sure that they can go safely behind the working place.
As well as enjoying the right-of-way along the busy streets or by the beautiful waterfront, wherever you go in Copenhagen, you can park your bicycle on the pavement and enjoy a relaxing cup of coffee. But the city is looking to an even brighter future.
That Copenhagen shall be a green city. We will try within the next 20 years to be neutral. Well, I think we are ready now